It's time for the Ron and Brian podcast. Get ready to fill your ears with the latest news, politics, current events, and whatever else we feel like talking about this week. And now, your hosts, Ron and Brian.
All right, good morning. It is Sunday. It is a special early edition of the Ron and Brian podcast, episode 212, joined as always by my friend, my partner, my life mate, Brian. Brian, how the hell are you today, sir?
Doing great. I was on a lot of sleep.
Okay.
Wasn't expecting it. I was expecting to get a lousy night's sleep. There's a lot going on. And then suddenly, boom, woke up, realized that I got in a solid 8.5, not to brag,
Right. Nope.
As you can see, I've been allowed back into my building. The CDC recently gave us the clearance to return to our domiciles here in Queens. So I'm feeling particularly safe.
Right.
Emotionally, I'm surrounded by my belongings. This is my safe space here. And I feel really positive about this episode. I think it's going to be really uplifting. I think we're going to have a lot of good things to talk about. I'm really excited about it.
All right. Well, you definitely seem shot out of a cannon. So
it was the cold brew.
It's
cold brew. It's Ron. It's cold brew season. This is what I'm like in the morning. You think like at 8:00 at night when I'm sitting there like, oh, you slop cold brew, heavily caffeinated. We never ask, how are you doing, Ron?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's a Sunday morning. Again, I got a solid night's sleep, woke up, had a good breakfast, made myself a bacon, avocado, and egg sandwich this morning. Just a solid combination right there. Had a few cups of coffee, enjoying my third cup of coffee in the morning. So
cheers to you, sir. I'm drinking water.
And it's a beautiful day out, Brian. A beautiful day, this first official weekend of summer. But as we know, we have been already celebrating Hot Podcaster Summer for a month now.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
But it's just nice to see that the weather has caught up with what we've been celebrating for the last few weeks. Brian, are we ready to get into this? Are we ready to get episode 212 rolling?
Yes.
All right. Let's start off, as always, with Drink of the Week.
Drink of the Week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the Week.
Pleasure.
Drink of the week. Drink of the week.
Brian, what are you drinking this morning?
What am I drinking this morning? I'm going to tell you something. I was feeling a little risky today.
I like it when you I get risque.
I'm drinking a 2-year-old beer.
What? Wow.
I found a Lager King, the official beer of Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
The official beer of Hot Podcaster Summer.
No, it doesn't want to play. Sorry, keep going.
Damn it. 2020, I found a can of it in the back of my beer fridge. I sat there and said, holy cow. I know Ron once told me that beers only last about 6 to 8 months in the refrigerator, but I'm going to show him that it's 2 years. We are taking chances. Here we go.
I was going to say, there doesn't seem to be a lot of carbonation there.
It still tastes fucking delicious.
All right, good. I'm happy for you. This is me being happy for you.
Oh, my hand's shaking now. What's going on? Ron, what are you drinking?
So I went non-alcoholic this morning because I have things to do today, and I went with one of my favorite non-alcoholic beverages. This is La Colombe Draft Latte in a can. Yes, you can get it on tap at your local La Colombe, but this is in a can. It is foamy nitrous infused milk mixed with their cold brew coffee, available in vanilla, mocha, and my favorite, triple shot draft latte. So we are getting a heavy caffeine here. And hold on. I mean, again, you mentioned how you had the cold brew, but imagine if you could add some cold nitrous-infused milk to that, Brian.
I would love that. I think that would be great.
delicious. So that's what I'm drinking this morning.
Nice.
So I guess that's it for drink of the week. We really didn't have a lot to talk.
Well, that's because we're not talking ABVs. We're
No.
not talking we're not talking about hops and flavors. You're just going hard.
Just going straight with triple caffeine. You're going straight with the Lager King. So respectable. So I guess there's nothing else to do but to move on to beef of the week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
All right, Brian, what's bothering you this week?
What's bothering me?
Yes.
All right.
This seems like something weighing heavily on you.
No, because it's a complete contradiction of what I said to you before we started the show. And it genuinely is my beef of the week. So do I stick to what we said earlier, or do we go with my genuine beef of the week?
I mean, I think we stick with what we said earlier, because if you go with your actual beef of the week, it will. Well, can I do my beef of the week first then?
You do your beef of the week first. Yes,
my beef.
Do your beef of the week first.
Very. So my beef this week, Brian, is actual beef. So let me explain. I was in Chicago this past week for business for a few days.
Sure.
And Chicago likes to pride itself on certain foods. Deep dish pizza, which, as you and I both know, is trash. It's garbage.
Of course, garbage.
It's a casserole. It's not a pizza. You know what I'm saying? Chicago hot dogs, which, all right, I don't mind a Chicago hot dog, but there's usually too much going on there. Like, I'm a simple man, just like relatively few condiments. I don't need, the salad that they put on top of that. The other thing is the Chicago beef sandwich. So like an Italian beef sandwich with like a side of au jus. So I went to this local place near my hotel that the concierge recommended. So it's described in the menu as a beef sandwich with red and green peppers and giardiniera, which I'm butchering that, but that's like it's an Italian relish of like pickled vegetables and whatnot.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, this sounds delicious. So if I may share with you, Brian, a photo of what was served to me. Let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. So now, presentation, not horrible, but like,
no, but it doesn't. The beef doesn't look particularly appetizing, and I'm not really sure what are those peppers they just slapped on top?
They just drop the peppers across the top rather than maybe like layering them into the sandwich.
Yeah,
so kind of like a semi. And so if you see like on the right hand side, I've got a little ketchup, and that green stuff is supposed to be like that Italian relish, which if you see that Italian relish anywhere else, it actually looks like the color of the vegetables that they started off. Like those are just all green. So it's just a random, and then the au jus on the left there. So let me ask you a question, Brian, because again, you're a man of culture. You're a man of taste like I am. If you get a sandwich that is supposed to be dipped in an au jus, should all of the flavor of that sandwich come from the au jus, or should the sandwich have a decent flavor on its own?
Oh, the sandwich by itself should have a decent sandwich, but that bread looks dry. That bread does not look like it was dipped at all.
Well, you dip it yourself in the au jus, that little container on the left.
Oh, okay, now I get it. Yeah. So what you're asking is, shouldn't the sandwich itself be bringing something to the table?
Right.
Wink, wink. Love the pun. Keep going.
So if you take, plus they didn't cut it, so it's this huge sandwich that you're now trying to assemble and dip. That was I took a bite without the au jus. No flavor, no seasoning to that beef whatsoever.
Oh, that's a shame.
And then the fries were undercooked. I mean, it was just a Chicago, for me, very disappointing city.
May I ask, how much did this sandwich cost you?
I mean, I will say it was a reasonable price. It was $17. So
$17 for a fucking sandwich, or 17 with the fries and the beer?
17 with the fries. The beer was additional. I mean, keep in mind, I had gone to Five Guys for lunch the day before, got a single patty burger, fries, and a bottled water, and that was $25.
Well, Five Guys literally charges you like there's been five guys who have decided to pummel your rectum with their large penises while stealing your wallet at the same time.
But that meal was better than this meal. So
Yeah,
again,
that's a
this
shame.
was very disappointing. So that, sir, that is my beef for the week. You look like you have a question.
I do have a question.
Okay.
What was the if we're going to trash Chicago food,
Right.
and I know that you were there for several days. My question: what was the best meal you had there? Like it's like if we're going to talk negative, we need to have balance. There needs to be yin yang. There needs to be a dark side to the force.
I mean, I will say this. I did not. There were a number of meals provided for the event that I went for, which were average at best. I will say the Five Guys I had for lunch on my first day there was probably the best meal I had.
That's sad.
Which is sad.
That's sad. Now, speaking of the event that you went to, how was the furry convention? The National Association of Furry Enthusiasts. NAFE, NAFE. You went to NAFE 2022. You told me you were looking forward to it. It is, in fact, I mean, I'm not disclosing anything, but you did say earlier that it was your high point of the year. It's the weekend that you get away from the wife and you can really express who you are as a human being. You get to, become who you get to become what you want to be.
Brian, I hate to disappoint you. I know you constantly predict that I'll be joining the furry community, but yet another week has gone by where I have not done that. So I think you are making things up. But Brian, now that I've gotten my beef out of the way, what is your beef of the week?
My beef of the week this week is Gold Star and the New York Yankees.
Really? Why is that?
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the website Gold Star. It is a discount activity / ticketing service that offers, significant discounts on ticket prices. And, so it is, comedy shows, concerts, public activities like going to parks, zoos, walking tours off Broadway here in New York City. But the New York Yankees take advantage of it and will sometimes sell tickets for, 25% off, sometimes even more, maybe 30%. So, I tend to go there because, it's a trusted website. Sometimes, you look on a StubHub or a SeatGeek and, you're buying it, secondary market. It's always you run the risk of a counterfeit ticket. Last month in May, if you remember, there was a week where I had purchased tickets to a game that was rained out. Yeah. And it was my beef of the week was the fact that it rained for about 20 minutes before 7:00 and never rained again. And I missed out on my Andy Pettit bobblehead.
Son of a bitch.
Okay, so fast forward a month. And I was at work one day this week. I hope none of my coworkers are watching this. And I needed to take a break from work because I had kind of hit like I was working at 25% capacity. And I was just like, whoa.
You needed a mental health day.
Slow down. I need to do some Brian stuff. And I was like, you know what? I never figured out how to exchange those tickets to for a future date. So I'm going to do some research now. So I went on Gold Star and they had the automated, system where you talk to their artificial intelligence helper that will walk you through all your questions. And it really is, are you asking about, signing up for an account? No. Are you it's insane. So, I basically got the answer from Gold Star that I needed to reach out to the New York Yankees.
Okay.
So, because they're like, listen, once, you buy that event and, for us, the event took place, the Yankees are the ones that have your money. You need to reach out to the Yankees to reschedule. So I reach out to the Yankees and their policy for rainouts is just go to the ballpark app on your phone.
Oh, the MLB ballpark app?
Which I have.
Okay.
Utilize it, have no problem. So I go there and there's no record of the tickets that for the game that was rained out. They were in the ballpark app previously. Now they've just disappeared. So now I reach out to MLB and they're just like, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We don't have a record of it. You need to go back to Gold Star where you actually purchased your tickets. Bounce back and forth.
Circle.
Yes. It was what do you call it? It was I was getting the reach around minus. Well, I was the one doing the reaching around. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So gave up, got frustrated, went back to it the next day. And I decided, you know what? Let me just do a search in my emails to see. They must have sent me an email
You would think.
of when the game got rained out, telling me what I should do. And lo and behold, there's an email from Ticketmaster telling me how to manage my account, and that in the Ticketmaster app is where I should exchange my tickets.
So now Ticketmaster's in the mix.
Worked perfectly. Got into the website, showed the tickets for the rain out. All I had to do was click a button that said exchange, and then it said, which of these games do you want to go to? The value of your ticket will be applied. So if you want to upgrade to a better seat, it may cost you a little bit more. If you want to downgrade, you'll have a credit. I was just like, all right, this worked. But what just frustrated me was the time I lost dealing with Gold Star and dealing with the New York Yankees. Neither of them pointed me in the right direction.
Sons of bitches.
And if anyone asks, I have turned off my air conditioner in my living room for peak audio quality, and it is hot as a mofo in here.
Well, I mean, that makes sense given that
Hot
it's
podcaster summer.
yes, I have turned mine off too. So we'll see how long.
You're not sweating bullets like I am.
Not yet. Unfortunately, the podcast office is in the back of the house, so the sun is not hitting this room just yet. So,
So you're nice and cool.
Brian, there's
Yes.
obviously a topic this week that has gained worldwide attention. Definitely something that we knew we were going to have to talk about today. So it's obvious that it was our first choice as our starting topic, and that is, of course, monkeypox, Brian. Monkeypox and what the UK is doing to handle it. Brian, would you like to fill us in as to what's going on across the pond?
Okay. So we've all moved, just to cue up the story. Everybody has decided that the COVID pandemic is over, that we no longer need to worry about coronavirus. Speaking of which, by the way, just one last follow-up for your Chicago trip. Did you wear a mask on the airplane back and forth?
I have to be honest, I did not.
What was the percentage of people that did?
I would say it was probably, about a third of the people were wearing masks.
Okay. And you felt comfortable?
I did.
Yeah. No. The reality of the situation is that it's not a very dangerous disease right now, and that the instances, the numbers are very low.
Right.
So I thanks for the update.
Sure.
Okay. So we've moved on. So now nobody wants to talk about coronavirus. People are recently, I think it was this past week. What's the guy's name? Mick Jagger came up 2 weeks ago as being positive. Nobody noticed. Martha Stewart this week had to miss a launch party because she was COVID positive. Nobody cares.
Right.
Jeopardy host Mayim Bialik tested positive. Nobody cares. We're all moved on to monkeypox.
That's right.
So monkeypox is spreading around. Numbers seem to be still relatively low. Earlier this week in the United States, I think we had probably about 250 cases of monkeypox here in America. UK seems to have a slightly higher number. The number that was reported by the UK Health Security Agency was around 800. So monkeypox apparently causes the sores to break out in your body, much like a chicken pox.
Right.
Ooh, this one hurt. This comment hurt.
He's not wrong, Ron.
You know what?
Brian gets 100% of the COVID.
The real issue, Ron, is that for years we've been saying, you got to follow the math, believe in the data, and this one cut right through. Jesus, William Esquire on fire already. So monkeypox, similar to chickenpox. I don't know what the connection is to monkeys, but I'm not getting close to it. But so the UK, they've got 800 cases and they're getting concerned. So earlier this week, UK health officials set out to offer monkeypox vaccines specifically to gay and bisexual men who are deemed to be the most at risk of catching the virus.
Apparently so, yes. That's for whatever reason, that segment of the population seems to be where the case numbers are the highest.
So it causes blisters and pimples on the skin, and all people are also reporting having rashes. What I do know is that here in America, the CDC set out guidelines that people should, how do I put this politely, rather than engaging in direct skin on skin sexual activity, what they should do if their partner has monkeypox is that they should be socially distanced, mutual masturbating.
I mean, that's one way to do it, I guess.
And the other option was to have sex while fully clothed, so that the skin doesn't touch the skin. But what I'm not understanding is why these health agencies seems to be targeting the gay and bisexual male populations. I mean, you and I are, we're not spring chickens anymore.
Right.
We are both in our early 40s, and the very fact. We were around during the AIDS crisis. We understood, the coded language when the governments, pretended that diseases weren't dangerous and let it devastate the gay and bisexual communities. And now we've got monkeypox, and it feels like we're targeting those communities again.
It does. Yeah. Again, I'm not quite sure, because you would think, they say that they're targeting, quote, gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men. But, why wouldn't they also, if it's a case of skin against skin, why wouldn't they just be focusing on individuals that may be having, a large number of sexual partners, different sexual partners, whether it be, male, female, gay, bisexual, straight, whatever. I'm not quite sure why that is. Again, I think the case numbers they're saying are showing that to be, why they're targeting it. But I don't know why they wouldn't just do an overall, campaign to try and reduce this disease, which it doesn't seem to be fatal. Like, I understand there's a discomfort to it. But, again, it almost seems like, like an extreme case of chickenpox.
Right.
I get why you wouldn't want to get it, but I don't know why there's necessarily and there's already a vaccine for it as well.
Sure. If you believe that vaccines work.
Well, that's all right. True. Do the kids have the receptors for monkeypox is the bigger question as well.
Well, obviously I have to ask Johanna.
Right. But again, it seems like there's a lot being brought to it, but it seems like case numbers are low. There's not like a fatality factor to it.
Correct.
There's already an existing vaccine. So it just seems like this is just, everybody's got pandemic fever,
right.
Like that, now that you mentioned, now that we've beaten COVID-19, let's move on to monkeypox and try and build it up and get people scared about that.
Yeah, it just feels weird.
So we'll keep an eye out for it. Brian, don't get monkeypox. I know you seem to be, if there's out of the two of us on this podcast, if there is one of us that is going to come down with an infectious disease, it does seem to be you. So I would just ask that you be careful out there and not get monkeypox.
Understood.
All right. Obviously, another huge story this past week that had everybody talking. That's right. The new Ron and Brian stickers have finally arrived. A reprint of the stickers that we've been using for the first few years of the podcast. The same logo that you have come to know and love. But we've also added some QR codes to make it easier to spread the message. We've got a QR code in the upper left corner that'll take people to our YouTube channel. And on the lower right corner, that QR code will take it to our page on Apple Podcast. So we have these available. If you are a Patreon subscriber currently, we're going to send you, even if you've already received your sticker allotment for your subscription, we're going to send all of our current Patreon subscribers stickers so that they have them to share with their friends and use them responsibly. That's all we ask. We don't want them stuck anywhere there shouldn't be. Or if you would like to sign up today, we will add stickers to your package, whatever package it is that you subscribe at. So go to Ron and Brian Podcast com. In the upper right-hand corner, there is a link for become a patron. If you join at the bronze level or higher, you also get access to our After Dark, which today isn't really after dark, but it is, I guess, afternoon. We'll be going live at 12:30. It normally is 9:30 at night. The last Sunday of the month also is traditionally our pajama party, where we let all of our subscribers come in and join us. We are actually postponing that for a week. We're going to do a special July 4th weekend edition next Sunday night at 9:30. So again, go to ronandbrianpodcast.com for all things Ron and Brian, but more importantly, to join our Patreon, get your stickers, get other fantastic swag that is out there. Brian?
What I wanted to point out is I think that we should make it so that next Sunday's show you have to wear your best patriotic outfit for the pajama party. Instead of pajamas, you have to wear something. You have to wear your most patriotic.
Makes sense. Get your America on next weekend.
Good.
All right. Well, I guess, Brian, should we get to the actual main topic of the week that we've been kind of putting off because we knew it was going to take a while?
Yes, please.
So, as everybody knows, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade earlier this week, releasing the decision that had been leaked a couple of months prior. So this wasn't necessarily a surprise, but it's disappointing nonetheless. And so now it will fall to each of the states to determine whether abortion will be legal in that state or not. There's a number of states that already had abortion laws in place, and then there are also states that had what we refer to as trigger laws that would go into effect should the Supreme Court overturn Roe v. Wade. So we've got 11, I believe 11 states with abortion laws in place. We've got
already
six states with trigger laws. And then there's a few other states that are putting together laws. Overall, it looks like we will have about 22 U.S. states that will have outlawed abortion altogether. In addition to that, some of these states have gone to the added I guess, viciousness of including in the laws that you can be arrested for going out of state. If you go to a state where abortion is legal and get an abortion, you will be prosecuted when you get back to your home state. Texas, I believe, is also offering incentives. So if you turn in a neighbor or a fellow resident as to having gotten an abortion somewhere, I believe you can be compensated. The state will pay you like $10,000, or actually the person who got the abortion will have to pay the individual that turned them in up to like $10,000.
Right. It literally, it's one thing. It's just the criminalizing the behavior is what is so fucking scary to me.
Right.
We always knew, at one point that the conservatives were going to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Right.
This was their lightning rod issue. This is what has been holding together a coalition of people is the belief that abortion is murder, that there is a human life inside of that womb that is being murdered. Some people agree with that approach. Some people don't. But we always knew, because the Republicans and the conservatives and the religious right have pushed very strongly that this is their belief and they will do whatever they can. Over the past, decade, it has been the legal case that has, been always on the periphery of being brought, with the Trump administration putting 3 justices on the court, who are all conservative, who are strongly conservative, and in some cases frighteningly conservative. You knew that suddenly you were dealing with a 6-3 conservative to what is it? Conservative to liberal.
Liberal, you could say.
Yes. And you knew that once a case got in front of them, then, and this is the part that really is my beef, is my issue, is the fact that a month ago or 6 weeks ago, the opinion was actually leaked. My thought at the time was that it was the conservatives leaking it intentionally to give America the heads up that this was going to be something that happened, to prepare the left emotionally for it,
Right.
to kind of test to see what was going to be the public's reaction. I don't understand, and this is my beef, is that I do not understand the shock that people are feeling this weekend as a result of the of this order coming out. Anybody that has been following the events of the Supreme Court, anybody that has been following the agenda of the right, knew that this day was going to come.
And I guess what's also, I don't know what the word is, shocking or frustrating. A day prior, the Supreme Court had released a ruling, saying that the state of New York couldn't pass concealed carry laws. That the concealed carry law that New York City has passed was an overreach of the state powers. So in the same week that the Supreme Court says that the states can't be trusted to enact gun laws, they're fine in saying that the states can enact reproductive rights laws.
Correct.
So it's yeah, and this is a great comment right here, talking about how doctors can be charged, pregnant persons can be charged and charged with a felony, and exactly, if you're convicted of a felony, you can't vote. Right. So it's a matter of disenfranchising women, especially disenfranchising minority women, because they are the ones that these laws tend to impact the most, as studies show. Because of the levels of healthcare that are provided in different communities. And again, you look at, the country as a whole, we rank 57th in the world in maternal mortality. Like you have a greater chance of, if you're a woman giving birth in the United States, you have a greater chance dying here than in a lot of other industrialized nations.
Sure.
We average about 19 deaths per 100,000 births. If you're a Black woman, that number jumps to 43.
Jesus Christ.
You look at infant mortality. If you look at the 36 industrialized nations, we rank 33rd in infant mortality. If you look at overall childcare and well-being, we rank 39th in the world. Mm-hmm. So, we're not fixing the problems, but yet we're going to add more. Those numbers are just going to get worse due to.
But that's because, and this is where clearly normally we try to take a neutral stance to things, but that's where the bullshit of the rights platform comes in, because they care so much. They care so much about the unborn child. But once that baby comes out of the womb, their entire agenda is, fuck you, you're on your own.
Right.
We are not here to help you. But they will absolutely hype and pat themselves on the back about how all life is precious and then the second that child is born, they will literally turn their back on that child and allow it to have a miserable existence. They're okay with that child being born and then starving to death. They're okay with that child being born and then dying and prematurely because the mother lacks the prenatal care to be prepared for the child. They're okay with children being born into households where they are unwanted. There is no support. Oh, I'm really going on a fucking rant right now. You can see I'm triggered. There's no support for an adoption system. There is no support for foster care. There is, those systems are absolute travesties. For the weakest members of our society, the ones that need our help the most. The children who are born who do not have parents that are taking care of them are put into systems where they are so easily abused and neglected. And it is just such a disgusting hypocrisy to sit there and pat themselves on the back for standing up for the unborn child, and then absolutely, in smiling and enjoying the fact that they have such a disregard for human life once it's been born.
Right.
Fuck
and
them.
beyond
Fuck them
even just
so
the
hard.
politicians, even these fake, fake Catholics out there that, oh, well, the child can be given up for adoption, but they're not lining up to adopt kids.
No.
They're not lining up to foster children. They don't care, and they don't even care that the foster systems in their states are underfunded and run poorly.
They don't want to help.
They don't give a shit. They want the child to be born.
Correct.
After that, oh, well.
Not my problem.
Well, maybe their parents shouldn't have had sex. Maybe. And it all comes down to eliminating, choices in people's lives and feeling that you can control the choices in people's lives.
Right.
I did want to, if I can pull up this slideshow I did here, which I know you love when I do my slideshows.
I love you.
So I kind of wanted to look at a few things. So this is the list of states where abortion is currently banned. It's Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. The states where those trigger laws we talked about.
What are trigger laws?
So trigger laws were laws that were put in place in these states under the assumption that Roe v. Wade would be overturned. So that the moment that Roe v. Wade was overturned, these laws would then trigger a ban.
Got it. So they're not already banned, but they're going to be as quickly as possible.
Correct. So those six are Idaho, Mississippi, North Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, and Wyoming. So the first thing I want to look at, and we've kind of had this conversation previously about the number of states that take a lot more federal money than they give. So
of course,
if we look here, the majority of these states are in the top half most take. Like West Virginia takes more money from the federal government than any other state versus what they put in. Alabama's number 4, Mississippi's number 3. So I think apart from like 3 or 4 of these states, most of them are taking more. So you're already showing in your state that you don't have the resources to properly provide for your people, or you're just poorly running your state because you were relying so much more. Like
Ron,
you want states' rights.
You've got the platform right now, Ron. I'll be right back.
You all want states' rights, but a majority of these states are showing that they don't have the ability to properly run their state without federal intervention, without federal funds, without sucking off of the U.S. government teat.
Ron, I'm going to tap out for this call. I don't know if you want to finish the show, but I think I just got some very bad news.
Okay.
All right.
Let me know.
Bye.
So we're gonna move on to the next slide. So in talking about maternal mortality, so again we talked about how the United States ranked 57th in the world in maternal mortality. So again, if we look at the states where abortion is currently banned, 6 out of the 11 are in the top 10 of having the highest maternal mortality rates in the country. The majority, when you factor in the trigger laws, more than half of them are in the top half of having the worst maternal mortality. So again, you've got states that are showing they don't have the capability of preventing mothers from dying during childbirth, but they want more. They want more births when they can't help the mothers that are giving birth right now. You look at infant mortality rates. Again, you look at the mortality rates, and this is an infant that dies 1 year old or younger. Again, scoring in the bottom half and I had the numbers screwed up. I had meant to flip it around. These are, if you're in the lower the number, the worst. So all of these are near the bottom in infant mortality. Mississippi ranks 52nd. Guam and the U.S. Virgin Islands keep more infants alive than Mississippi does. But again, they want trigger laws to have more children born. And then again, kind of carrying that through. All right, so maybe the mother lives, maybe the child lives. How do they do in educating those kids? So it's again, ridiculously low scores in education. They don't care about the mother. They don't care about the child. They don't care about education. They don't care about the healthcare. Again, another great comment here from Allie. They want women controlled, and it's true. And they want them out of they want women out of the workplace, out of politics, out of the way. And you look at the age of these politicians that are in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and they come from a generation where they grew up where, the wife was supposed to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. And they can't stand that women have gotten equal rights. And, the way that they have also, insurrectionist Ginny Thomas's husband, Clarence, wrote that this argument that was used to get rid of Roe v. Wade can now also be looked into the laws requiring contraception, the laws that allow same-sex marriages, and the laws that allow same-sex relationships in general. So, again, they've gotten rid of abortion. They want to get rid of contraception. So not only will it not be legal for you to get an abortion, it will be legal for your employer not to provide you with contraception that is covered under your employer health plan. Ridiculous. And then we've talked about this on the podcast when this ruling was first leaked, that if you have a woman in your life that you care about, whether it's a mother, a sister, a daughter, a wife, whatever, you need to be upset about this. If you have, if you know of anyone that is gay, bisexual, or trans, this is the game plan to come after their rights as well. There are people that are already saying, do I need to look to leave the country because I live in a state that, should gay marriage be abolished, will outlaw my union? Do I need to try and figure out if I can afford to move to another state, if I can afford to move to another country? Do I need to do that? It's absolutely ridiculous. It is upsetting. You see the protests that are breaking out across the country. People are upset, and rightfully so. I mean, this was again what was considered a non-issue for all of these conservative Supreme Court justices when they were being confirmed. All of them, even going back a few, last year or the other year, to Amy Coney Barrett and Greg Kavanaugh. Yes, I know. Thank you. Sorry, we're having it's a little disruption to the podcast, but we will make sure I finish this up. It does look like we will need to cancel the After Dark for our Patreon folks. So we will send out some information on that as well. Now there is a tremendous amount of, and again, rightfully so, pushback against the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party had 50 years to codify Roe v. Wade into law. Think about all the times over the last 50 years that the Democrats had control of the White House and the Senate and the Supreme Court. And they didn't do it. It could have been actual law, but they didn't do it. What they do is they use this as a way to just blanketly send out emails and texts asking for donations, asking for money. But why? What guarantee is there? Biden got into office in 2020, and we got a majority in the Senate and a majority in the House that's Democratic. But what have they done over the last 2 years? And the sad thing is, the right probably had a great opportunity in the midterm elections coming up in November, but you have to think this is going to energize the electorate to an extent. But what are the Democrats going to do that is really going to help the country? Because they've had so many opportunities to do so, and they have done nothing about it. So it's incredibly frustrating. I apologize for being all over the place, but we just got a little news here on the podcast that kind of has messed things up a little bit. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up a little bit early. And I know we typically try and go a full hour here. So I do apologize for cutting things off early. I appreciate all of you that joined us today. We will be back again next Sunday, regular time, 8:00 Sunday night for the regular podcast, 9:30 for the After Dark. So again, thank you all for joining us, and we will catch you all again next week.
Thank you for joining us on the Ron and Brian podcast. We're live each week on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find prior episodes, links to our social media, and everything else Ron and Brian at ronandbrianpodcast.com.